This is a Renew original recording. Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Believe in People, the British podcast award-winning series exploring addiction, recovery and the stigma that surrounds them. I'm Matthew Butler, your host, or as I like to say, your facilitator. Today's episode features Kieran McCartney from the current series of the BBC's The Apprentice. Watched by millions over the last few months, Kieran is known for his confidence, drive and win-or-walk mindset. In this episode, he opens up about the pressures behind that image, the loss of his dad, and how that led him into a period of regular drinking and cocaine use. We explore the reality of cocaine culture in the UK, how normalised it can become, and what it was actually doing for him during that time. Most importantly, Kieran shares how he recognised it had become a problem, the steps he took to turn things around, and what he would say to anyone who might be in that place now. I'm excited for the conversation because one of the things we talked about before we even started here is that it's very young to have someone of your age speak so openly about this subject, and that for me is quite exciting. On The Apprentice, you come across as confident, driven, someone who gets deals done, and the thing that I found interesting is cocaine is quite synonymous with that business environment.
Yes.
What pressure were you carrying behind that, and how much did that culture play a role in your own cocaine use?
I mean, look, it's everywhere in the business world. A lot of people are on it. And they won't be as open and honest as me. And, you know, there's a lot of people that are doing it daily. And they're not just doing it with a drink. You know, they're dry sniffing. They're using it to get through their business day. I was more of a after work user in the pub with a few beers rather than doing it at work. I normally had to have a drink to go with it. They kind of go hand in hand with one another.
Yeah.
And it was to prolong the length of time you could, you know, stay on your 2 feet.
Yeah. We was having a conversation last night. We was out and I was talking about, like, once you've had a few drinks, because your inhibitions are so lowered, it's so easier to say, yes, I'm gonna try that. And I shared a story with Robbie when I was on holiday in Tenerife back in like 2012, 2013, and I'm there and I'm in the urinal and the guy next to me, he comes and, you know, uses the urinal, but he just puts like the cocaine on the top of the urinal, and as he's taking a piss, he just sniffed it off the top of the urinal. And he said, like, do you want some? And it was one of the things where it crossed my mind. I was like, do you know, it kind of looked fun.
Don't I? Yeah.
But if you hadn't presented it in such like a grotty way on a urinal, then maybe I might have been a little bit more tempted. But I think it's one of the things where the inhibitions are lowered, and like you said, you know, obviously you drink and then you'd have cocaine.
Yeah.
Why do you think those two do go so hand in hand? Is it just the lower inhibitions, or is there something?
Yeah, I think the alcohol's the depressant, and then the coke brings you back up. So you kind of stay in that mid-level range rather than dropping or going too high.
Well, you could argue to stay in that mid-level range, you just wouldn't need to take either of them.
Well,
and you would stay
in
in the mid-level range, wouldn't you? Yeah,
there is that to it as well. But I've recently been diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
And I was talking to the chap who done my assessment, which people can see on my Instagram, that it's actually, there's something to do with the dopamine in the brain. So coke actually affects people with ADHD a lot different. And it kind of levels you out rather than gives you the high. And then you sort of calm down. Yeah. Which, again, that's probably why I was so addicted to it, because it kind of calmed me down and kept me mid-range rather than giving me the high that it was meant to do for others.
Because it just has the opposite effect. It's like, I think Ritalin, I've spoke about Ritalin before, but it's like an amphetamine. If you've got ADHD and you have amphetamine, you actually just present more, I don't want to use the word normal, but more level.
Well, that's what's in ADHD medication, right?
Yeah. So it just sort of like just stimulates. Yeah. It puts the brain onto a normal, so a normal level, doesn't it?
In regards to the drugs, I'm actually going to go down the natural route rather than take the medication. Yeah. Just because then it's another addiction that I could get used to. So I'm going to go down the natural route with natural supplements and try that. And again, people can follow that and see how I get on. And it may be something that they could switch to if they're addicted to the Ritalin or
Is that what attracted you to cocaine in the first place then, do you think?
Oh, no.
What was that?
No, so I would have been sort of like late teens, 20. It's just it's on the scene, isn't it? It's in the pubs, it's in the clubs, it's there. Everyone's doing it, but people obviously do it a lot more than others, and people have bigger problems than others. And sometimes, you know, I got quite bad on it when my father passed away. So that kind of set the tone, and I was doing it to escape and be someone else.
Yeah, I think there's what I found interesting about cocaine now, we're in a period of time where it isn't as taboo as it used to be. Like if I think back to, again, my younger years, like those party years, I felt like there was some shame around cocaine use. People would be like wiping the nose and trying to be a bit more discreet about it.
Now, no one's discreet.
It's like, mate, there's a line in there for you. Do you know? Go,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You sat there like, well, that's mental.
Yeah, and people just, it's the norm, right?
Why do you think it has become so normal though?
I just think because it's so available and there's more people using it more commonly, it's kind of just, it's kind of normal for people to go down the pub, have a few beers and a bag of Coke.
Yeah.
I just think it's the norm now.
Yeah, I get that. You mentioned then about your dad passing away.
Yeah.
And I think you've been quite public about, how, the passing of your dad, kind of steered you towards, drink and cocaine. Based on that, I suppose that addictive personality, did you ever have like a dependence to alcohol as well? Or was it just...
Yeah, I was drinking probably most days, and then every time I was drinking, I was sniffing Coke. And I smoke as well. I'm smoking more than I ever have because I'm off the gear now.
Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of one takes over another, and I still have a couple of beers here and there, but I've got a limit.
Yeah.
A 3-pint limit now. Anything more than that, I'd be worried that I'm making a call.
I was just talking about that last night, actually. I've tried to go complete absence of alcohol, and I've actually just introduced a 1 pint limit now because I do really enjoy the taste of beer.
Me too.
But I hate feeling drunk and I hate feeling hungover.
Yeah.
So I've just given myself that one beer, and it just not even calms the nerves as such. It just takes that.
You get the taste,
exactly.
right?
And for me, it takes that obsession away, because if I say I'm not going to drink at all, I think
you'll crave it more.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you'll end up going off the rails.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it kind of springs on that. But a 3-pint limit's quite an interesting one. Why 3?
Because it was always after the 3rd pint, I'd then call it on. So I know where my limit was.
Yeah.
And then you get a bit tipsy, and then you walk it off home.
The lowered, It's back.
So fourth pint was call the dealer. Yeah. So I know that was how it rolls.
Did you ever experience like a dependency to alcohol, like where you felt like a physical withdrawal from it?
Now I drink a lot less, I feel so much better. My sleep pattern is so much better. And with that, I'm then working harder. I'm doing better at work. I'm earning more money. I'm friendlier to people. People are seeing that I'm not this, angry little man sat at the end of the bar needing my fix. Do you know what I mean?
But how does it affect you personally? And obviously, we talked about the ADHD element of it, but does it? Because I often found, like, when I've explored some training around like different substances, we often say it can actually just exacerbate an existing feeling. So, when you say you've got happy drunks, sad drunks, it's actually, if you're feeling sad and you drink, you're just going to be a sad drunk. If you're happy and you drink, you're going to be 100%. Happy drunk. So, how did cocaine, I suppose, change your mood? Was there already like an anger there when you was taking cocaine, or
the sadness with my dad probably made me. I'd done it to escape being sad. So the Coke would then bring me back, and I could just forget about things and talk shit to people or talk at people rather than have a conversation with them. And then people would kind of just move or leave,
Yeah. How are you navigating the loss of your dad now then, kind of without?
So I got therapy once a week now.
Okay.
He comes up in conversation most weeks. But now I've kind of healed, because I've been clean for a few months now. You kind of sit back. I've taken on board what happened. I don't feel sad. Obviously, I feel sad about it, but I've kind of got to deal with it. Rather, what was happening is I was going out, drinking, doing Coke. Then you get anxiety. Then you feel depressed. So you never actually get to the point where you get over it. But I feel like I'm there now. And then if I do get sad, then at my meeting with my therapist, I talk about why I'm sad. And sometimes there's other things that play the game. Maybe a friend's dad's passed away or another relative's passed away, and it sort of brings the feelings back. But being able to talk about things is a big release. And so I do recommend people just talk to someone. Whether it's someone that doesn't know you, sometimes makes it a lot easier.
I found that, because there's no sort of prejudgment or misconception. Because sometimes I think, like yourself, you very much again present as this confident person. I think it's almost like when people have that preconception of you, they think, oh, well, that shouldn't affect him in the same way that it affects somebody else. And obviously with grief as well, there's the stages of grief that you go through.
Yeah, cool.
How long ago did your dad pass away?
2022.
Okay, yeah.
So
so 4 years. It sounds like a long time, but it's not, is it? When
no,
you think of how
not when you're a mess for most of them 4 years. Yeah.
Was it unexpected? Did you see it?
Yeah, it was cancer, so we kind of knew it was going to happen.
Don't make it any easier, though, does it?
No, of course not. But you still don't prepare for it because you don't believe it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that with cancer in general. Do you know? It's like when you see those adverts, 1 in 3 people get cancer.
Yeah, and that's
it's 3 of us sat in this room right now, but we're all thinking it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
Do you know? But there is that possibility, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's scary.
Have you experienced withdrawal from cocaine? Like when you're not taking it regularly, did you experience a withdrawal? And if so,
at the start, I would crave it.
Yeah,
yeah, I'd crave the feeling. So I don't know. And then do you know what? So my therapist always says, just stop, take a step back, think about what the effects are if you go and do that. And that's a powerful thing to do. It's a tough thing to do, especially when it's so easy to get hold of now. But then I'd be like, well, I'm going to cancel all my appointments tomorrow because I'm still going to be off my tits, or I'm going to be feeling rough, don't want to get out of bed, or haven't slept, so I'll be sleeping all day tomorrow. So then my work's ruined. I won't make the money. I'll lose contracts with people. And that to me was either carry on doing it or lose my business and don't have an income and ruin my life.
Yeah, being aware of the consequences.
Yeah. Consequences are huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to The Apprentice, you made a win or walk pact with Lord Sugar, and have you got it tattooed?
I have got it tattooed.
Yeah, my producers, I'm sure, I was going to say...
Yeah, I've got it tattooed, yeah.
I think what's interesting about win or walk is that all or nothing mindset is synonymous with addiction. Is that what drives that sort of win or walk attitude?
I'm kind of like, in my mind now, I'm like, I live every day as it comes, so I don't plan too much. Because if you start planning, then again, it's more to think about, it's more worry. I figure out as I go. So the win or walk is, in the show, for example, was, I'm probably going to go here, what can I do? This win or walk. I just say things. I don't really think about things.
Are you the first person that's done that sort of deal? With
That's
Lord
the
Sugar,
only person. In 20 years.
That's mental, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do you think he went for it then?
We got on quite well. I think he made a comment that I reminded him of me when he was younger. Yeah. Does that make sense?
You reminded him of
I reminded
himself when he was younger.
Yeah, that's it.
I get it. I got
cool.
it.
So I think he was like, right, we'll just give him one more go.
Yeah.
Give him one more chance.
Yeah. I'd have tried milking it another time as well.
Yeah.
How about double or nothing?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Yeah. That's interesting. But is it synonymous with that addiction personality then?
I'd probably say so, right? Because like you say, you don't just have one when you've got an addiction. You don't just do something once. You do it. You either don't do it or you're doing it.
That's it, yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of the same.
That's why I think it's quite interesting that you've managed to implement that sort of 3-pint limit. Because someone with addiction problems, there's no such thing.
I mean, I smoke like a trooper, mate.
2's too many and 1's not enough, I think, is the old saying goes. But
the 3's the finisher and then the 4th's danger.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's just me. But I used to be a big drinker. Like, that doesn't really get me to a level of drunk. So, that's quite like, oh, right, relax. I'm relaxed now. I go home. And that's only, I do that twice a week, where it was every day.
Do you know one of the things that does baffle me about addiction is that you've said now that you're smoking more than ever. I've seen people give up alcohol after severe alcohol dependency, heroin after, severe heroin dependency, but they can't drop cigs.
The thing is, cigs are legal.
And so is it
that's the thing, isn't it?
Is it like a moral thing then? Like of
I just
legality?
think, it's not frowned upon.
Okay, so it's more like the stigma of, I suppose, smoking is much more accepted than
100%.
You doing a line of cocaine at, the street sort of thing. I get that. I do think it's interesting because I think out of the 3, cocaine as well, that if you wanted to give something up, that would have been the easier option. But some people say, well, I need to have at least something.
So it's like me. Like cigarettes it's the easiest way. You go into any shop and buy a pack of cigarettes. You know, you can't go in a shop and buy, you know, Coke. Yeah. You can buy alcohol, of course, but even you walk out with 2 crates of beers, even that's frowned upon a little bit, you know.
And it's the inconvenience of having to carry around 2 crates of beers.
And again,
you don't. Cigs fits in your pocket.
In my head is, you know, I smoke, but if say I was to go and have 12 pints, I'm going to feel like shit and ruin my day the next day. If I have a pack of cigarettes, it's not going to affect my next day.
Yeah, so
that's the difference.
The consequences of it, isn't it, as well?
It's the aftermath,
I get that. You know, when you look back, what was cocaine actually doing for you then? And I mean that in sense of, like, you know, you talked about the bereavement of your dad. So was it helping you cope? You've mentioned obviously like that escapism, helping you perform. Can you really nail down what it is that cocaine was doing for you as an individual?
It was making me feel like someone I wasn't. So I didn't want to be who I was at the time. So it was to forget me and be someone else. So
was there a peer pressure in it at all?
No, not business?
At all.
No.
See, I thought that might have been something. Being around those again goes back to that.
It's just so easily available. That's the problem. Yeah. It's like with anything now in this world.
Yeah, trying to.
If you want something, it's only 15, 20 minutes away.
I know, it's crazy. I saw an advert for Deliveroo that they can deliver cat food and stuff to you now. Even that still baffles. Even that still baffles me. Like, you know, could get cat food delivered to you. How do you see like cocaine culture now then? Because I guess what's your view on the stigma and the normalisation that comes with it? We've mentioned about how normal it is. What is your personal view? Could that ever change, or do you think now it has been normalised? This is where we're at.
Do you know what I find the most funny is? So I'll go and have my 3 pints, but I'll sit there and I could probably 95% of the people who are on it, I could pick out and point out for you.
Really?
And because it's so obvious now, where normally when you're on it, you're like, oh yeah, no one knows I'm on it. Yeah. They fucking do. Yeah. It is so obvious. Like people's eyes, people's mouths, like, you know, the way they lick their lips. It's, you know, the way they're talking to people, their voice has just changed. And
is that something that you'd only know that if you've experienced that yourself? Because I don't think I could sit in a pub and fully be able to tell who's on coke, unless they're like going like that with the nose and stuff.
I know.
Like
I think you have to know it quite well. But I could pick anyone out who's on it pretty much.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
and it's quite nice because then you're like, I don't want to look like that. I don't want to be that person.
I suppose that is the other thing, because again, going back to like when people talk about their history of alcohol dependency, or even drug use, you know, people have had heroin addiction. They say once they see someone on, I remember speaking to this guy before, and I said, how do you feel when you see someone who is clearly under the influence of like heroin? He said, you know, part of me thinks like, oh God, I can't believe that I ever looked like that myself.
Yeah.
He said the other thing he thinks is, I could do with a bit of that, but then he also had a relapse and died, actually, that person. But it's interesting to kind of look at that mentality, I guess. What is it that you're thinking when you are seeing these people then that are clearly still using cocaine? What's your view on it?
You know, it's in that moment in time, it's, you know, I'd love to go over and say, look, you know, is there anything I can help with? But when someone's high, they're just going to not speak to you, and there's the risk of violence, you know, mouthing off. So you kind of just have to sit back and watch it happen. Don't get involved, don't encourage. Just if people need to speak out and help themselves, but there's options out there.
And if it's not a problem for them at that time,
they're
not going to address it.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to listen if they're high.
When did you realise that it really was a problem then?
I was sat in a pub and I kind of just thought, I'm not having fun anymore. I just sat there in silence by myself. So I just called my mum up and said, I need help. And she went, yeah, I know, but I've been waiting for you to realise you need to help yourself. And then, we done it together. We got therapy. We went through the stages.
That must be hard as a parent to kind of know that your son is going through something. But knowing that, I mean, you get like helicopter parenting, don't you? Do you know, and it happens when you have toddlers, but for some people, you know, they kind of, that transcends into their adult life as well. I'm quite lucky that my parents, you know, took a massive step back from me in those, you know, sort of informative years. But it must be hard knowing that your son has a substance problem and knowing that you have to wait for them to realise that it's a problem as well.
Well, yeah, because you don't listen otherwise, you know, and then you end up fighting against each other. But yeah, bless her. She's, she called around all the local pubs, like, don't serve him. If I find out you've served him.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, no, like, she's feisty, mate. Yeah. But yeah, no, they all listened to her. Like, I was friends with like all the landlords, and they were like, "No, you're not coming in today, mate. Yeah. Your mum's been on the phone." Like, I'm like a grown man. Like, come on. But no, so it's quite nice. But without that, I probably would still be on it.
Yeah. Was there any resentment towards your mum at that time?
Not at all. Not at all. All love. We're best friends, mate. Still are to this day. And then probably we're closer than we ever have been because I've been open and honest with her. Yeah. Which is really nice.
You've mentioned, obviously, therapy. Did you go into the rooms of, like, CA or anything?
No, I never did that.
No, never did, like, a fellowship route or anything like that?
No, never. Just kind of just went, right, this is it. Start talking.
Yeah.
That's
interesting you can do that because a lot of people would find it hard to kick up.
What I would find at the start would be talking to in a big group. This is where it's private and confidential, just one person, one room, and it doesn't go anywhere. That was kind of this is quite private. I don't want anyone else to know. But obviously since then I talk about it because I want to help other people with it.
On that topic then, do you know, if someone's listening to this and they had a cocaine problem and they're identified that it is a problem, what advice would you give to them?
You got to figure out what the best thing is for you. For me, it was speaking to someone, whether you want to speak to a group with the same issues or you want to speak to someone who hasn't got an issue and they can advise you on. Sometimes it's not about talking about the coke issue. Sometimes it's about talking about other issues that are leading to that issue.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's not just, I like coke, which is why I do it. There's normally something else to it which causes the addiction. For me, it was my dad dying. So you kind of got to, like, step back, think about it, who you're going to affect, but also why did you get in this position in the first place, and how do you resolve that issue to then resolve the coke issue?
No, that's really helpful. I've got a series of questions I'd like to ask all my guests before we finish.
Okay.
Quick fire if you can. It's quite difficult.
Okay.
Favourite word?
Coke. No, I'm joking. It's on my mind.
Do you know what? Weirdly enough, I had a feeling you was the little pause. I was like, he's going to say Coke.
Favourite word?
They are tricky, these questions.
Catastrophe.
That's a good one, actually. Least favourite?
Sand.
Something that excites you?
Football.
Something that drains your energy or just doesn't excite you?
Work.
I'm surprised at that. I thought it was something that
drains my energy.
Yeah, you put it in that context, yeah. Favourite sound?
Opening a can.
What sound or noise do you hate?
A buzzing of a bee.
Dream job?
Astronaut.
That's a good one. I like that.
Cheers.
Worst job that you can imagine doing?
Or working on a farm.
I'd love that.
No, just cleaning out.
Oh, okay, yeah, that element of it, yeah, I can understand. And then lastly, if God exists, what would you like to hear him say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
My dad's safe.
That's lovely. Kieran, thank you so much for joining me on Believe in People. Thank you.
And if you've enjoyed this episode of the Believe in People podcast, we'd love for you to share it with others who might find it meaningful. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and leaving a review will help us reach more people and continue challenging stigma around addiction and recovery. For additional resources, insights and updates, explore the links in this episode description. And to learn more about our mission and hear more incredible stories, you can visit us directly at believeinpeoplepodcast.com.